Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare Remastered in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the G36C, which is one of my favorite weapons from Call of Duty 4, and it's one of my favorites carrying into Modern Warfare Remastered, even though I know it's statistically not a great weapon. The majority of the gameplay you're going to get to see from this episode is me going on a 19 kill streak with the weapon. I typically don't go on such high kill streaks, especially not for in-depth, so the bulk of the episode will be that, but of course you'll see some iron sight, suppressor, ACOG, and all that sort of fun stuff as well. But let's jump into the stats of the G36C. Its damage will be 30 up close, decreasing down to 20 at a distance. This makes it 4 to 5 shots to kill, depending on your range, which is very low for Modern Warfare Remastered. This is a game of a lot of 1, 2, and 3 shot kills, and this one's always going to be 4. If you put stopping power on it, the damage will increase up to 42 up close, which is much nicer, and 28 at a distance, meaning that it will be 3 to 4 shots to kill, but that's still not great for this game. That's still going to be underperforming and very similar to the M4 Carbine. Headshots will deal 1.4x damage, meaning that they are useful at any range, and unfortunately that's not something I can say about any gun. Headshots are useful if you have stopping power or not, if you're close or if you're far away, and coincidentally the recoil kicks upwards, so if you start about pecs up, you'll often get a neck and headshot, and I recommend going for them all the time with this particular weapon. When it comes to range, we're actually going to be repeating our M4 Carbine test, and no, I'm not drunk, because the max damage and 3-shot or 4-shot kill range is identical to that of the M4, so I just wanted to repeat that test from a previous episode, and because I'm going to be comparing the G36 to the M4 a lot moving on in this episode, because they're kind of like foils of each other, kind of like the AK-47 and M16, or AK-74U and MP5. You have the G36C and the M4, so I thought that'd be a good way to segue into that sort of comparison. Rate of fire is 759 rounds per minute, which is slightly slower than that of the M4 Carbine. Due to frame rounding and the way the game works, realistically in-game they're going to be firing close to the same speed, but if one is ever going to be slower, it's going to be the G36C by just a little bit, which means that if it has the same damage, same range, and slower time to kill, that the G36C is going to have a slower time to kill not only for the M4, but slower than most of the other assault rifles. Matter of fact, it may be the slowest time to kill assault rifle in the entire game, but I don't want you to think it's sort of a hit marker machine. All the weapons in this game kill incredibly fast, so killing fast compared to what you're used to with this weapon isn't particularly challenging, but it's not competitive in that aspect. However, it does have a few other nice attributes that other weapons do not. The G36C has a faster raised drop time than any other assault rifle. What that means is you can pick it up off the ground very fast, you can swap it out with your rocket launcher, with your grenades, you can pull out your pistol much faster. If you're running it with overkill, it swaps much faster, so that's kind of a benefit, but I'm not sure that's going to be a big enough benefit compared to something raw and powerful like time to kill. Reload time, kind of average though. It has the same reload cancel time as all the other assault rifles. Animation's a little bit quicker than average, but nothing too special and nothing worth writing home about. Now, I did all of that very, very quickly because it's all roughly the same as the M4, but now we're going to get to where the weapon differs from the M4. It only has about half as much idle sway, so it's a bit more stable. We're talking both in magnitude, direction, and velocity of the sway. It's got about half of each one of those, so it doesn't wobble around as much. You won't have that difficult of a time acquiring targets with it. That being said, it's not super nice like the M16 or anything like that. It definitely does shake a bit, but it is less shaky than the M4. The hipfire, like the M4 and a lot of the machine guns, is quite good. This one is very good for assault rifles, and I often use it with steady aim. It's just a very fast-firing, fully automatic weapon, very easy to put steady aim on and surprise people with hipfire, even get some lucky headshots sometimes, so it's a strategy that I would definitely recommend. Alright, now about halfway into the episode, we're finally getting to the part about why you should actually use the G36 over the M4, and that's because while its overall accuracy is low, precision is very high, and it has mostly vertical recoil. It doesn't kick side to side a whole lot, and it tends to drift straight upward, so it's very easy to control. In my personal experience, I find vertical recoil very easy to control, much more so than horizontal recoil. Some gamers are of a different opinion, some of them really like that low vertical recoil. Me, I have no issues controlling it, and that's why I tend to like this weapon. It does go side to side a little bit, but not much. However, statistically speaking, It has higher recoil than the M4 Carbine. It just kind of does. If you want to graph it out, if you want to map it out, the recoil is going to be mathematically worse than the M4. However, it's got a different pattern, it's got a different shape. It's easier to use in my opinion. Same way, for instance, the AK-74U is easier to use for some people than the MP5. Totally different recoil patterns, even though the guns perform similarly. And I just like the G36C for this reason. I find it very easy to control. I'm all the time getting vertical straight up the body shots. I'll finish them off with a headshot very quickly. If I shoot in burst and let it come back down, the center speed is high enough where it settles very quickly. I don't personally have issues with it, but that being said, I know the weapon mathematically, statistically underperforms compared to the other assault rifles. It's probably, stats-wise, one of the worst in the game, but not by a huge margin, only by like a little sliver, and there is a minority of people like me that can get a good feel for the weapon and do very good with it. Unfortunately, the iron sights are very obstructive and I try to avoid using them. Yes, I can use them, but no, it's not particularly fun. I do have difficulty tracking targets outside of medium range, and I really hate the bulkiness in the hindsight. That's just ugh. And like most of the other assault rifles, adding an ACOG sight will completely screw this gun up. Worse hipfire, idle sway, all kinds of terrible, terrible things with an ACOG sight that you really don't want to do, so I very strongly recommend not adding it. And finally, when it comes to how you should be using this weapon, it's best like very standard assault rifle, stopping power, red dot sight, steady aim. I also tend to run bandolier on it, but I know some people prefer their extra grenades, and it is entirely reasonable to swap out deep impact over steady aim or dead silence or something like that, but I prefer steady aim just to hipfire people in pubs. If I was doing MLG or whatever, definitely be dead silence. And deep impact, while yes, it can be valid, I just don't think it's a high enough damage weapon to bother with. Guys, that's all for this short episode on the G36C. I hope you learned something about it, and I hope you legitimately try it out, because it is one of my favorite weapons and one of the ones which I perform the best with. So even though I'll tell you statistically it's not amazing, it's definitely worth giving a try, because you just might get a feel for it. Well guys, that's all for this episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.